Hello and welcome back. Today we will be making the delicious, the airy Japanese milk bread. The reason I started making this recipe was because of an NPR segment I listened to roughly a month ago during the quarantine period. There was some kind of blogger or writer who had toured Japan for some time. He was talking about all his different travels and recipes and things he loved. But the one that caught me was 7-Eleven. He had mentioned how 7-Eleven, unlike America, over in Japan is a cultural like a center. A lot of people go there to shop for groceries. It's clean, it's bright, it's got so much different stuff to it than you'd expect in America. If you've ever seen the pictures, it really is night and day. And he laughed because when you're living in Japan, you're used to it. You get to see all these Americans come over and get all bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and like shocked, and Hillary Clinton with the balloons dropping, like, oh God, what's going on? It's crazy. So one of the things he mentioned though was this very popular sandwich over there in the 7-Eleven market. The Japanese milk bread egg salad sandwich. It's made with Japanese milk bread, and the egg salad is made with it's called Kewpie mayo, which is it's a mayonnaise made with distilled vinegar. I actually did manage to secure some of that, so maybe I'll make a video on all that. It is very tasty. I'm not really the biggest egg salad fan, but he talked about how, the way this bread that's just super airy and just melts in your mouth mixes with this delicious mayonnaise and this eggs, and just the way he described it, I was like, I gotta make this. So since Nick now and I out in Pittsburgh, he's out in Pittsburgh, since we've been doing this whole like weekly, bi-weekly thing where we pick a recipe, make it, I voted for Japanese milk bread. We both made it, turn out fantastic. It is fantastic. My friends love it. I've given it to pretty much everyone. My fiance loves it. So I figured we'd make our video on that one. Things you'll need whole milk, or any milk would do, but I like whole milk. Half a cup of whole milk. 2 tablespoons of butter. We will need to melt this. It won't need to be hot. You don't want it hot, so I'll get to how we're going to do that in a second. 1 egg, tablespoons, scale, bowls, flour. Now it does mention in this recipe bread flour. As I mentioned in other recipes, that is key to the perfect recipe, but if you're unable to find bread flour, especially during the quarantine, things like that, don't worry about it. All-purpose flour does work in a pinch, and like I've said, it's just been fantastic. Pan, whisk, all kinds of things. So let's get started here. So first things first, we are going to want to make what's called a tanzong. Tanzong, I haven't been able to get an actual full pronunciation on that. It is basically like a roux, and a roux is one of the 5 mother sauces, which I'll make a video on. It's basically the main ingredient or the starter for anything such as like the Alfredo sauces. It's a butter and flour mixture. It's the basis for those types of sauces. This is a little different because this could be milk and flour, but it's close enough that I'm calling it basically like a roux and one of the 5 mother sauces. We're not going to start with that just yet because I want to get going with the melting of the butter. So I'm going to pull off my handy dandy little microwave protector here. Allows me to put things in here when I heat them up. I don't have to touch the hot bowl. I'm going to pull out what's been sitting there, or from our other video, the pizza dough sitting resting for the hour. About halfway done on that one. Pop this bad boy in. I'm going to give it about, let's cover it up. Don't go crazy, so I'm going to go nice and slow. I'm going to start with about 15 seconds, probably stop it at the 5-second mark. Some more time there. And you want this to go now if you don't have it pre-melted, that way it has time to cool. You want to melt it slowly because I don't want this thing popping all over the place, not only just for the mess, but I don't want to waste product and all that good stuff. So I'll give this 10 seconds more. Be a little cocky about it here. Butter can change on you quick when you're trying to melt it. Pain in the ass. Okay, no pops yet, but we are almost there. Another 10 seconds in there. Now this should be a good time to get started in the roux, but as you'll see, the roux can be ruined very quickly, very easily, so I don't want to kind of multitask and mess that up. I'm guessing another 15 seconds should do it. Alright, so for the tanzong, we are going to need 2 tablespoons of flour. approximately 25 grams. Let's go ahead and measure that out. Right overboard with that, so let's scoop a little of that bad boy out. You can put that right in the pan. Don't heat the pan up yet. Nice little spread around here. And 6 tablespoons of water. I'm not going to really fully go crazy with the temperature in this one. We'll stick to the 80 to 90 degrees, but if you want to kind of feel this out, as long as it's room temperature, not boiling hot, just right off the bat, you'll be fine. Yeah. 6 tablespoons of water. Grab a whisk, and we're going to whisk this up and try and get all the clumps out until we have a nice smooth mixture. Again, no heat, as you can tell, as I'm not putting this on the stove. Gotta be nice and gentle so I don't ruin the pan. This is where a nice plastic whisk would come in handy, but I don't have anything like that. Alright, once it's nice and smooth, place it and turn on the heat to about medium, give or take. Check on this butter when that starts to heat up. Perfect. Butter is perfectly melted, no splashes anywhere. So we're going to let that sit out to cool. You're going to want to constantly, for the most part, stir this. Get that going, because this will turn on you quick, especially if you're only doing one batch at a time. This will change on you quick. I actually had to remake this the one time I made it. I took my eye off it for 1 second. You want to stir it constantly, give or take, until you start to see where the whisk comes, the bottom of the pan, it's starting to make streak marks. If it's heavy streak marks, and everything starts to clump up, you've gone a little too far. You want to get it right to that state. Medium to medium low. You know your oven, your stove better than me, so feel it out, especially if you're electric versus gas. Oh, the other ingredient is yeast. Can't believe I forgot to mention that at the beginning. Duh. Yeast is key. This recipe mentions a fast active yeast. I've been using just plain yeast, mostly because that's all I've been able to get a hold of during quarantine. Happy enough to have that. Had no problems. Again, my Japanese milk bread has been turning out fantastic, if I don't say so myself. See, this is where it wants to trick you. Starting to, if it's stirring this constantly, it's not really changing, but next thing you know, you take your eye off of it, and you're screwed. Starting to thicken up a bit. Almost there. Alright. see if I can show this to you. See? Just enough where it will start to clump, but it will come back together if you want it to be. That is the sign that it is good to go. So, take off the heat, put on the side. You want to cool this. And while it cools, then we can work on the next steps. This is where we combined the main ingredients, which are flour, yeast, milk, and the butter, the sugar, the salt, and the egg. So, 300 grams of bread flour. Again, all-purpose, we're doing a pinch. Beautiful. Put that aside. Half a cup of, again, I recommend whole milk. Melted butter. Get our yeast down here. This recipe recommends 2 teaspoons of yeast. And 1 teaspoon of salt. Aside as well, and grab our wooden spoon. Wood is key. And we're going to start mixing that together. Now you can add the egg here. I like to add the egg in a second here. I'll tell you why. Let's get this going. Take the egg, a separate bowl, gonna crack that bad boy. I'll wash my hands here really quick. Grab that whisk you had used before, gently beat the egg. Pour it into the pan, the tanzong that is cooling or has cooled. Just a little tip that I learned researching this. Stir that up with the tanzong. That'll help incorporate it all when you kind of mix it into the main ingredient here. I'm gonna grab, just scoop it all out and dump it all right into the main mixture. Clear our space, because after we kind of give it a nice mixing, we are going to want to knead it until elastic and smooth on a lightly floured surface. Let's prep that lightly floured surface. Aside. It does mention you can add a little more flour as needed. Don't think we're there yet. Other than, you know, me, if you see my other videos, whenever I dump things out like this on the surface to get the kneading process going, I like to just put a little excess on top to help it get going. Look at that, already looking beautiful. I don't think my surface was floured enough. A lot of fun here. As I mentioned, the pizza dough video I was recording earlier, my KitchenAid does appear to be repaired. My engineer over at the Badley Brewing channel has supposedly fixed it. No guarantees, of course. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, he's tried his best. And then we're going to have to buy a new one. But it's so much different doing things with a KitchenAid. It gives you time to clean while the ingredients knead or mix. Always want to keep an eye on things, but it gives you at least a little free time. However, I have been enjoying this. It is very therapeutic to kind of knead dough on a counter, especially during this kind of crazy time during quarantine. Highly recommend it. Baking is just so much fun. I'm just gonna have some fun with it. Although, if you talk to my fiance, I've had several moments of stress during my baking, especially trying new things. But in the day and age, we have a lot of YouTube videos and all kinds of different recipes to go off of and tips and tricks online. You're never too far from help. So this recipe I use does not mention how long to knead it for. I give it about 5 minutes, give or take. You just want that dough to be elastic and smooth. And I think, let me double check that it's lightly oiled covered bowl, and then we cover it again, let it double in size for 1 hour, just like we're doing with the pizza dough. Checking to make sure I got one of my small bowls. I don't feel like using a giant bowl for this tiny piece of dough. And I do. Although I said earlier, make sure you're using a clean countertop surface. I obviously made these videos back to back, and you saw how dirty we got with the pizza dough. I fully wiped it all down, sanitized it, cleaned it. Gotta make sure your surfaces are clean. You don't want to poison yourself or your guests. Highly recommend doing things the right way. Pain in the ass. It's not time. It's time consuming, but it's worth it. I have made so much dough recently. I've cleaned this counter so many goddamn times back to back. It's insane. Right, nice and elasticy and smooth ball. So we are going to Hold it up, leave that here for a second, wash our hands really quick. Get out a nice small bowl. Take your olive oil and just do a little drizzle, nothing too much. Even that's a little too much, doesn't need to be much. Take a paper towel, start to spread that around the sides. And take your bowl, dump that in there, turn over once, get a nice little coating, light coating of oil on there. Cover this up just like we did the pizza dough. Warm spot, leave it out for an hour, it will double in size, and then we'll be back for part 2. The forming of this is actually a lot of fun, and there's even going to be part 3 and 4 because I don't know how to edit videos yet, haven't bothered trying, but hopefully this is off to a good start for you. If you have any questions in any of these videos, please leave them in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll be back to check on this in a little bit. Take care.